Hey, now, I think we finally may have gotten it. Let's see here if everything is working, although I'm not seeing my microphone. There's my microphone. So we'll go ahead and double check that everything is working as I think it should be, that it might be. Hopefully, we shall see what is going on because I'm not seeing anything pop through on my end yet. We'll see what's going on. What's going on? Let's see. Go to my channel. And we'll see what we can do. Hope everybody's having a good night. I hope that this is actually live. Hey, it says that I am live. So let's just double check here. As I get my own ad, I guess I deserve that, don't I? See how everything is going here too. Hey, it seems to be working. Let me just make sure that I'm going to make sure that it is public. That's the only thing that we have to be waiting on, and that we are going to get started here, hopefully here in just a moment, because for some reason it is not showing it in my streaming software on the back end here. So let's go details. Are we live? Says we are public. So, oh, great. Well, we will share this out real quick. Hopefully everybody is having a good night. Address, and we are live. See if anybody swings by to check out what we have going on. So what we have going on here is we do have the Monoprice Joule 3D printer on our bench here. And hey, can I do a 3D of me? I can send to work so I don't have to go. No. Backward Bob, hello. This is not about the new TLR buggy, Casey. Sorry to tell you. The one thing, my audio, I think, sounds rather tinny. So let me know what you think there as well. I'm going to just adjust my stuff here real quick. Okay, chat's coming through there. Advanced audio properties. And... it might just be the mic itself. I'll play around with it a little bit later. But hey, everything is working. So you can see me there. I can see everything right here. I think it sounds a little bit hollow myself, Mike. So I hope you're doing okay, my friend. I know you had been having some fun, shall we say, recently. So hopefully everything is going well with you. So hi, everybody. We do have the box here for the Monoprice Joule 3D printer. Now, this will be my 5th printer, and this is actually something that I'm recording this and saving this for my full-blown review of it. So we're going to go through, just kind of hang out and everything, and kind of shoot the breeze as I put stuff together. Now, you know, Casey, you do mentioned the new TLR buggy, which it's an 8xe something is for the electric, and the Nitro is just the regular 8X. I haven't seen it. It wasn't at RC Fest. But I am using my dynamite tools and everything here, so some things will never change. Now, for those who are not familiar with the Monoprice Joule 3D printer, it is very similar to like the Ender 3 V2 or any Ender Pro 3 V2. So it is a 200 by 200 by 250 print bed. So pretty decent size, larger than the Voxel, which I have tested from them in the past. I'm trying not to slam the mic here. So let's see. Tips: power unit is 115 by 230 volts. It should be selected by switch before you power it on. Select the correct power voltage to match your local mains. Casey needs a 3D printer eventually. Definitely a toy. You know what? This is a great way to start out, and complete not fluff. I have loved the other Monoprice printer I have, the Voxel. A little bit smaller print bed than what this one here is. But the Voxel is one of those where if I just need to print something and know that it's going to print and look decent, that's absolutely what I go to right now. In the last several days, I've printed out over, I would say, probably 250 pieces. Oh, no, maybe 150 pieces of different things. Some of which I know I was backlogged on some orders because I was having some issues with my Ender 3. So hopefully this kind of helps us get caught up. So what do we have here? We're going to go through. We have some spare parts, some hardware here. So there's that. And spare pads. Okay. And we are going to stop. Hammer time, because this is read this before unpacking your printer. So we're going to go through and pull that out. Yeah, Casey, it was one of those for me that I thought about it and I wanted it and I wanted it and I just never pulled the trigger on it. And then now that I did, I mean, like, I'm so glad that I did it. I wish I would have done it sooner. Let's see, walks you through everything that comes with. So has the print base on there, your display, the extruder end, the Z-axis passive block. What else do we have in here? Your tensioner, your Z-axis motor, X-axis limit switch, all your gantry stuff, your belt, the scraper, some wire ties, a needle, filament rack. It kind of walks you through all the hardware. So pretty nice as far as how they laid out the manual here. Very similar to any RC car manual, quite honestly. And it kind of shows you what the finished product is going to look like right here. So we're going to set that aside for now. And I will say, if you ever have, what I love about Monoprice too is anytime I've ever had any questions, like they've been right there to answer, even before they were sending me stuff to check out. And they did send me this for review, so we're gonna go through, pull this up. Now, one little thing too, I have to say, I'm getting some arthritis here in my thumb, so like pulling this stuff up hurts. I think that's the printer display stand. Going to set some stuff aside for now. And Case, I mean, if you've got good relationships with your local hobby shop too, there's so much RC stuff you can print out and make a couple bucks on the side. So here's the display. Now, it is not a touchscreen display. It does have a rotor dial here to go up and down through the menu settings, some clips to go into the stand there, and then you do have your connector on the back. And yes, customer service is important, and they're awesome. So it's out here. Now, I am also going to go through, looks like this is the extruder, one of the stepper motors. Wow, that is packed in there tight. This looks like, yep, so that's the extruder here. That's plastic. I do have metal ones on my other printers. I've actually got a metal upgrade I have already ordered for this, so I'll be upgrading that in a future video too. And I will tell you too, a lot of the designs that go into a 3D printer, very similar to like what we have used or used to use in the world of RC, like to set the belt tension, it's a concentric cam, similar to like the Triple XS, the Triple X4 with the single belt design on there. So a lot of RC parallels to this. In fact, if you take a look here, that gear that drives the extruder, it looks like it is a 64-pitch pinion. So that's something I've always thought was kind of interesting. Continue to unbox here. We have, I think this is the hot end. Yeah, that's the hot end right there. And when I say hot end, this is actually where the filament spits out of here. And here you can see the nut for the concentric cam. So pretty cool there. A bag of stuff. I think we've got power cord here. Yep. Grounded power cord. Pieces of cardboard in here, kind of keeping everything from sliding around. I'm hoping... Nope, I'm going to have to lift this whole thing out. So I'm going to move the mic for a sec. Going to see my junk. No, not really. I got pants on. Maybe. Ender 3 V2. That's what it's based on. Duh. If my hand wasn't jacked up, this would be a lot easier. Going to set this aside. Please have parts, yes. And we have our gantry and everything. So these are the rails that go up and down, basically, that the different parts will maneuver on. And we've got a number of those. Good metal parts. A putty knife, and these are always handy for removing items from the print bed. You have your drive belt, SD card, adapter, and an SD card, or micro SD card. We have one of the rods for the Z-axis where it goes up and down. A tool bag. And let's see. Your screws, another hot end. Gantry covers. I like how they have all this labeled too. Hopefully you can see that. Come on, focus. Or you can kind of sort of almost see it. Very Tamiya-esque, I would say. Again, just making an RC reference here. So you have everything very well labeled in here. I'm digging this. This is nice. Belt pulley, I think probably what the hot end will get mounted to. And you have one of your stepper motors. Please have pants. Oh, pants, not parts. Sorry, I didn't see that. This is one of your stopper switches. That would be, I think it would be the Z. How does it look, by the way, too? This is first time streaming with the dual camera setup. Their filament, so this is a 1.75 PLA transparent red filament, and I have loved this when they, in my my Voxel. It was really, really good. Now, they actually put it on a spool. This is 0.05 kilograms. In the Voxel, it was a half kilogram spool, which was awesome. Your spool holder and belt tensioner, wire ties, and then the other end of the filament holder. Oh, that hurts. So there's that. By the way, Casey, the OnlyFans page is the one that has no pants. Which, hang on one second, because I have an interesting story. I'm going to move this out of the way. Fly, be free! So something... Hey, Matthew, how's it going? You, sir, need one of these. You need one of these. So, interesting story about a similarity between two now Disney characters, but one of which, I'm going to move this camera over here since I'm kind of looking this way more. Let's see, there we go. Is one similarity between both Donald Duck and Chewbacca. Neither character wears pants. Thank you. You're welcome, I guess. You would be telling me thank you. So again, now Matthew, for you coming in, this is basically a clone of an Ender 3 V2. And everything that I've heard about that machine has been nothing but wonderful. This by Monoprice, the same company that had sent us the Voxel several months ago. So I have been looking forward to doing this. We are going to do a full-blown review, but I'm like, I got to build it anyways. And really wanted to just kind of do some streaming, too. I haven't done a stream in quite some time. And I will have this archived for later reference. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Wiring diagram. Now, one of the things that's on here that's super cool is, and if you're not familiar with 3D printers, this actually has a sensor for what is called a BL Touch built into the board. And what that does, it's an auto bed leveling mechanism. So you don't have to worry as much for getting the bed perfectly level because it will go through, it'll test where home is in the dead center, and it'll do 3 across, 3 across, and then 3 across. And it takes measurements at each of those positions, and it will adjust up or down depending on like how high or low everything is. So so much more convenient than having to manually go ahead and level your bed. So assembly, installation of the Z-axis limit goes into the so 2 gantries go up on the side, and then we have 1 additional belt tensioner that's actually already on there. So terrific. So I'm going to reposition this. I kind of wish the hot end was not already attached on here. Now, one thing I will tell you too is it is very similar to the what is it? It's the Voxelab Aquila or something like that. You can actually even see on the hot end it still has the V on it. So a lot of the parts should move over or cross over, be cross-compatible, shall we say. So we're going to move the printer this direction here. So what is everybody up to tonight? I know I have not been able to stream nearly as much as I would have wanted to, but it is one of those that I'm here now. How are you doing? I want to hear about you. How was your day? Did you have a good day? Because you know what? I really want to know how your day was. So you do have 2 sets of these gantry pieces that's included. The ones that we're going to be working with is this one here that has the micro switch. Is moving and organizing your shop. I have been there. Linda, how you doing? Linda, I am looking for something for you that I hope that when I find it and I get to send it your way, I hope it hits you in the feels, and I'm being dead serious about it, and no, it is not a CRT. Because, as we all know, CRTs are terrible. Parts over, because I cannot find where I set my Zacto knife. It's like Tom was in my shop here from Do You Nerd. Make sure you subscribe to Do You Nerd. Let's see. Life with Matthew has been working on some home automation stuff, giving the home a bit of an update or upgrade. Wait, you've been giving your home an upgrade. Are you moving? Does Amy know? Man. How happy was she when she heard the news? You know what? I may be slightly incorrect that it's the same. I'm a dummy. So, and I know, that was breaking news for all of you, right? That I admit that I'm a dummy. So, that one goes on the left, that one goes on the right. It's not 2 pieces. The way I was looking at it was that was actually a seam or something like that, and one would go on one side, one would go on the other. But nope. So, this is going to go like so, and it'll get mounted about there. So for that, I need an, let's see, Matthew says, no, I won't be moving, just resigning myself that we won't be moving, so taking care of some stuff that you have been putting off. Yes, I am so glad, especially with interest rates kind of going where they ended up going in the last few months and today. I am so glad that I bought this house last year. Let's see. Casey completely remodeled his grandparents' 1936 farmhouse into a modern smart home with a 1,500 square foot garage. Dude, that's bigger than my last house. So we're going to set this so real quick. Maybe. And I need a... And that's one of the cool things about the fact that they have everything labeled on here is I know I need these guys here. This is the 5x45 millimeter. Yep. So there's 4 of those, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, they included an extra. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see. Today was crazy. Need to sell my other house. I've been there. That was one of those. So when we bought and sold, we basically had found the house that we ended up buying, this house here, on a Friday afternoon, and I emailed, I don't know if I've ever told this story, so, Late Night with Gary at Voxelab Productions. By the way, if you all can do me a favor and share this out, let's get some more people in here. Would love to kind of hang out and talk with everyone. But when we saw this house, I saw it on a Friday afternoon on realtor.com. That's not an endorsement. That's just I was keeping track everywhere on different houses that were available because a year ago, as we all know, the housing market was dumb with just how hot it was. And in a lot of ways, in a lot of areas, it is still DUMB dumb where you get multiple offers and you go over asking price. So we had gotten 2 offers on our house the day, which was a Friday, that I found this on realtor.com. Okay, great. So we kind of took the weekend to go through and compare the offers, kind of decide what we want to do. We accepted an offer on our old house on Saturday, Friday or Saturday, I forget. And then the Saturday that this house went to where we could actually get in to review it and everything and whatnot, we were the first of 7 families that came in to do a walkthrough. And it was just walkthroughs. There was no open house. It was literally just walkthroughs. So, and that same day, I had to go about 4 hours north to where my daughter lives with her mother because she was getting ready to start college. And I told her weeks ahead of time that I would go ahead and buy her a new laptop for school. I'm gonna pause here for just a second. What I am doing too, instead of using the included tools, I actually have my own like screwdrivers and whatnot that I'm using here to get everything tightened up. So we got in here at 9 o'clock in the morning to do our walkthrough. Like I say, we're the first ones to do it, and we loved it. We made our offer basically while I was driving north to meet up with my daughter, and kind of nervous all day long. And we had our stuff basically done by 11 or 12 in the morning to send off to the sellers. Well, find out the sellers were actually at a wedding that day. So we weren't going to hear anything from them, maybe not even till the next day. Well, I guess, like I say, we were the first ones to make an offer, and they loved the fact that we had a family that was going to be moving in, raising a family, that this was going to be, pretty much our home until Ellie graduates from high school at the very, very least. So they ended up taking our offer. That was on Saturday. Monday evening, I get a call from my agent. The couple that we accepted an offer on our old house, they were moving to Central Illinois from Kansas City. And they were coming here to take a job. And the wife had already had a job offer accepted. The husband had a verbal commitment, no paperwork signed from his new employer. Well, Monday morning, they pulled the job offer from him. They had already sold their house, and they were, in the process of moving here. They had already quit both of their jobs. They had sold their house that they had in Kansas, so they were kind of up the creek. And I still, to this day, I feel terrible for them because the wife just absolutely loved our old house. They were looking for, kind of like what we were doing here, but they were looking to start a family where we already had, hey, Eskimo Joe, we're just kind of hanging out and building a 3D printer. And telling some stories about how we went through the buying and selling process of our house here. But, last I heard was that she ended up still coming. I don't know whatever happened to him, if he got another job here locally. But we ended up taking our second backup offer, and later on we found out that it was a slumlord who was buying it, and he was a pain to deal with through the closing process, wanting all these things that we outlined that we weren't going to be printing, or not printing, weren't going to be doing. There's some minor repairs. There's some repairs that we made that he claimed that we didn't make, and he was a jackass. And Matthew, I still to this day I think about that couple because they were extremely sweet and everything that we heard, just how much they loved our old house, and B, that's just one of those things that is a life-changing event. Just to move from Kansas City to Central Illinois, but then to have an offer pulled off the table like that when you had agreed in principle, quit your old job, that's just a nightmare. I still wonder what happened to that husband and wife, and I feel bad for them. So Eskimo wants to know, never had a 3D printer, set one up before. Hard to get into? No. Let me rephrase that. Depends. Anything can be as hard or as difficult as you make it. What I have found on the design side of things, so before I got my first 3D printer last year, and I've only been into it since October of last year. Nothing fell down below. Nothing we need to worry about. The biggest thing for me was learning the design software. And for me, I have found that so much of it is similar to Photoshop, just in a 3D environment. Next up, we need to attach the Z-axis motor and T-shaped screw rod. So this is going to go, figures, I got to turn it around this way. Yeah, Casey, it's one of the, like I said, I feel terrible for that couple. And sadly, I kind of think it's my former employer, just the way, in talking to a few people, I guess that happened to someone that they offered a job to, so that sucks. All right, so here we have this is our Z-axis motor, and it's kind of interesting that this is not pre-installed. On every other 3D printer I've ever had, this is pre-installed. Now, one thing, it does have a Molex style connector here, and I'm sorry, on that camera you can't quite see it, but if you look at the other one. So before I tighten this down on the gantry, I'm going to actually insert that. Very similar for in the RC world, like a balance connector. So we have that, and then we need to go with two 4mm by 20mm screws. I'm going to actually attach this before I put the threaded rod in and tighten it down. Let's see. Do you have to pay people to download their printer file? Depends. I use Thingiverse all the time. Now, the one thing to be cognizant of is not to steal someone else's design and sell it. Plenty of people have stuff on there where they're like, yep, it's Creative Commons. If you want to sell it, have at it. If someone lists something and asks you not to sell it, just be respectful of that. So pretty handy in Photoshop. Good to know. Yes. I'm in this RC hobby, so I think installing a printer looks easy. I will say, I mean, a lot of it has, like, and I was talking about this with Casey, who's also an RC guy, and I'm an RC guy. Don't know if you can see behind, but I've got my Mini T 2.0 brushless sitting back there. Review coming to the channel in a couple of days. And my Team Associated B6.4D that I've got to build yet, too. So for me, what I found, like the drivetrains and everything, especially on four-wheel drive sedans and buggies, very similar to how this is set up. So again, I need to find a 4x20mm screw. That's 4x8, 5x25, 5x14. It's not one of those. Nozzle, 4x12, not those. All right. Oh, and I didn't point this out before, but it does come with a bag of tools. I'm using mostly my RC stuff just because better quality. And that's not a bash against this. It's no different than the tools that you would get with a ready-to-run car or truck. 4x20, 4x20. Ah, there we go. I just missed them. So it's a countersunk? Sure is. That is a 4x20 countersunk screw. And there be two of them. Just like, Captain, there be whales here. Name the movie, Matthew. Name the movie. Wrong. Or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I know Eskimo Joe that a lot of guys do 3D printed accessories. I don't know if you can see it over there, but this is a 3D printed, like RC car parts tray and tool stand and everything. Actually, on the Thingiverse right now, looking to see if I can find a cover for a UPS that's 40 volt. Dude, measure it and make it. Come on, man. Go into Tinkercad and make it yourself. And that's the other thing, too, Joe, is there is a website called Tinkercad. It is completely free, and it is one of those where you can design your own stuff and then export it so that you can print it on your 3D printer. I think this is a 2.5mm. And hey, I was right. Come on, Gary. I know the search for the final frontier when I hear a quote for it. Blast it! Come on, Biggs. I wasn't fast enough. You know what we're going to do? We're going to actually use the extension here. Is my mic hot, by the way? Yeah, Tinkercad is really cool. And it's free. I mean, that's the best thing about it. And the cool thing about it, you can go on and screw around with it. You're not going to break anything. You're not going to cost yourself money. There's no licenses to worry about. It doesn't get happy. It doesn't get sad. It just runs programs. Name that movie. Matthew. I don't think you can. And I actually quoted that to someone at work earlier this week, and they were mad at themselves that they couldn't get it. I'm just grabbing an extension here. I'll give it to you one more time. It doesn't get happy. It doesn't get sad. It just runs programs. Let me know if you need a hint. Okay, we're getting that in. Johnny 5 is alive. Very good. This 3D printer was actually sent to us from Monoprice for the purposes of reviews. So just being completely transparent with that. Retail price on this, I want to say under $250. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yes, I am impressed that Life with Matthew knew that. Stat! And I will say that like this is very similar to the Voxelab Aquila, which I mentioned a little bit earlier before you got here, Joe. It is essentially a clone of the Ender 3 V2, which is like one of the leaders in this category. For my test print, I am probably going to do one of my. Do I have one here? Give me a second, I'll show you. Where is it? I know I have one here. I know I have one here. Do I not have one here? I may not have one here. All right, so the first thing, what I use for test prints is this guy. So this is Discoon from the Famicom Disk System. And that's a file that I found on Thingiverse that I will be going ahead and printing. Benjaveri. Is that what you're talking about? Use Blender to make any mods, Thingiverse files. I just use Tinkercad for everything. It just, for me, it works. But see, and that's one of the things. Like, what's the best the best website for adjusting things and slicing and whatnot? It's whatever one you get the most use out of and you're become the most proficient in. So that was tight. Where is it? Now, the main thing to remember here is to not go gonzo on these screws. You don't want to strip them out. Yeah, I have an AV, or not an AV Famicom. I have a Famicom and a Sharp Turbo Twin, and I love both of them. They are some of my favorite pieces of my collection. So we have that. Next up is we need to install the pneumatic joint and XE access kit. Okay. All right. So use the open end wrench to secure the M6 pneumatic joint to the XE access kit. So we are on that part right there. Hey, Sean, how's it going? What are most of the instructions on these 3D printers on? No, they're 100% English, as you can see right here. I've been streaming about half an hour now, I'd say, Sean. So let's see here. We need to find parts. Where did I put those parts? So this is our print head and our extruder and or not our print head, but belt drive here along with the extruder here. So it's going to go like so onto the X-axis profile. All right, Casey, have a great night. Thanks for stopping by. I always appreciate it, my friend. I hope to see you soon. Just double check which is which. So that's, I am not thinking that is it. Yes, this is the one I need. So the difference in these is this is for on the top of the gantry, and it has screw holes that go through this way and this way. This is the one that your extruder and everything will actually ride on, and it has a screw hole here and here, and there are screw holes in the side of the gantry here somewhere that I'm just not seeing that it will go through. Weird. Well, and it's public, so that's bizarre because we had, no offense, Joe, I haven't seen you before in any of our other videos or whatnot, so clearly some people either saw it or picked up on it. I can't even see because I am in OBS right now. We've got 8 watching, and I didn't even hit my own thumbs up. Boom. Thumbs up. And I have to say, I like the plastic and whatnot that they've put over the top of these parts just to kind of help it from prevent it from getting damaged in shipment. There are screw holes going through the access this way. I have to go back to OBS because I'm not seeing the screw holes properly. So there's screw holes here, and there's also like an indentation here and here. Look, I like this channel. You are into the same hobby as me. Oh, well, I appreciate that, Joe. So we are going to run this with the holes towards the back, and the extruder motor will go this way. Go. Can't go like so. Let's go like so. No. How does this go? Oh, this is talking about because, all right, I'm skipping ahead a little bit. That's what's throwing me off here. So what I need to do is there is a pneumatic joint that needs to go in here, and then I need to secure this to the X-axis through that hole there, and that hole there will line up with that hole there and that hole there. Okay. Pirate? Oh, okay, Lorenzo. I don't know what you mean by that, but okay. Arr, me hearty har. And for this, my friends, we need to get the pneumatic pressure fittings there, har. The scurvy scallywag. And this is definitely where having the, yes, Matthew, nailed it right there. He be the scurvy pirate, har. So having that parts tray off to the side too, since there are 2 of these pneumatic fittings in there, allows me to go ahead and kind of keep things neat, clean, and organized. I have found too on a lot of these things that RC Allen, or not Allen wrenches, but nut drivers, that's the term I'm looking for. Welcome back, Sean. Work well to get over a lot of these. A lot of these are 5.5 or 7 millimeter nuts, essentially. Now for this, I am actually going to dig into the parts bag. Oh, the eye patch times, har, me hearty, yes. When we had the palsy of the bells, yes, har. It's really not, Joe. I would probably be done if I wasn't streaming because I'm stopping to talk and look at the chat and, you know, kind of hanging out with everyone. I have missed doing this, and I just haven't had time to do it. Yes, we had the eye patch times when we had the Bell's palsy there. Well, what in the hell, Bobby? What is going on? Dangle, shoot. So I will say that this wrench is not the most accurate. I'm glad that I have some extras. I will actually come through here and tighten that down before I go do my first print. But so we've got that pneumatic fitting on there, and then we have to bring in the let's see, it is 2 by 5 millimeter by 14 millimeter screws to tighten onto the gantry there. So we're gonna go here and 2 by 4 by 8. I love the fact that these are labeled. I mean, it makes my heart warm. Let's see. What did I say I needed? I needed 5 by 14s. 5 by 25. 5 by 14. There we go. And there are a few of them. Do they have a mini 3D printers that don't require setup? Yes. And also from Monoprice, like I mentioned earlier. And it's funny, so when I went to go grab the Discoon, I had all three of my filament printers going. My Monoprice Voxel is going beautifully. My ANET ET4 Pro and my Ender 3 Max both just shit the bed with the prints that I had going. So, yeah. So, I will say with 3D printers, they are very similar to a gas-powered lawnmower. There are days that it's not going to want to run, days it's not going to want to stay running, days that you think you've got it figured out, and then it kind of gives you the finger. There will be days, regardless of who makes it, and these are 3 millimeter screws here, where no matter what you do, nothing will print properly. And I thought I had my Ender 3 Max working properly, and no. And from time to time, my ANET just is a challenge. I apologize, I'm summoning that off camera. There we go. One of the things I'm trying to do, too, is not scratch up. This is a glass print bed, so you don't want to scratch that up too terribly much. Although I will say, if you ever have issues with prints adhering to the bed, Elmer's glue is just terrific for helping bed adhesion. Oh, I don't like that. You know, might help if I'm straight on more. Yeah, there we go. You don't want to cross thread this, and quite honestly, you don't need to use thread locking compound or anything like that on any of these. I have not had an issue with any of these screws and such backing out over time. Actually, I have that. Use it. Come on, Bobby. So install the synchronous belt extruder kit and Z-axis passive block. So we are on this page here. No, probably not, Sean. I'm not a big soccer fan, so I will probably pass on that one. Although I did order today the TMNT physical edition. So, where did I see the belt? There it is. And this was one of those things when I assembled my first 3D printer, like I could not wrap my head around. And now I'm like, you're a moron? I mean, I'm always like, I'm a moron, so there's that. Yeah, the new Turtles game looks amazing and everything. That's one of those games I may buy both physically and digitally. So we're going to pop that out. Make sure you do not lose the thumb drive adapter there for the micro SD card, because that is going to have your test print files and everything. So place the synchronous belt in the groove over the wheel on the X-axis kit. So let me see here. So we've got to go like so. And then we go so. So there are teeth on that pulley there that you want basically the belt to wrap over. Again, Casey, four-wheel drive sedan and four-wheel drive belt drive buggy. And then we have our extruder, and the extruder goes on the same side as the pulley here, so we're going to line that up there. And what caused me the trouble initially is what you need to do, there's these little brass fittings here and on the other side. You need to slide them into place here and here for basically that's what moves the belt side to side. Telling you no lies, knocking you out with those American thighs. She told me to come, but I was already there. The walls was shaking. The earth was quaking. My mind was aching. And we were baking, and you shook me all night long. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Captain Kirk sings AC/DC. Slide this on. See, I can't make that work a little bit more easily this way. Yeah, I don't like that. Because on my other printers, maybe I'm just going too high here. I may have to snip this down a little bit. There we go. Or is it one of those? You know, I may be doing, you know, I'm doing this upside down. Dummy. Bobby, you dummy. Oh, very cool, Eskimo Joe. It got to go down like this. That's how it goes. It's like I was putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. So yeah, so the belt comes in the top and then goes like so. I am so glad this multi-camera setup is working, by the way. I know it sounds stupid, but I'm just really happy that that's working like that. So there's that. And now I need to bring in this pulley kit, which goes like that, I think. Am I upside down here? Or did I put the print head on upside down? No. Print head is on that side. These wheels go on this side. It goes bingo bango. Right? Wrong. Maybe. Let's see here. Nope, I had it right the first time. It's one of those always need to make sure that you're just double checking your stuff. Oh, and I understand now why the belt is loose is because this has a belt tensioner on there. Aha! Aha! What do you know from funny? Stay. All right, so we need a 5x14 millimeter screw. 8, 4x6, 4x8, 5x25, 5x14. Is that what I said? Yep, 5x14. So it is one of them there. Dangle screw. Tell you what. I've actually, you know, I haven't had a whole lot of time to play games lately. Just been so busy. I've been getting into Jedi Fallen Order. I had not really been able to play a whole lot of it. And then I saw that it had the PS5 upgrade and whatnot, so I went ahead and downloaded it. I've been having a decent time with it, but there's still parts of that story. It's like, eh. Now, at this point, we're not going to be putting a screw here yet, so keep that in mind. Okay. Now we have an X-axis tensioner, an X-axis limit switch kit, which is this. Now, where did I put the tensioner? Matthew, what did I do with that tensioner? Tell you what. Did I done dang drop it here till you could get on that dang internet and go click, 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 click? Picture Nick girl's up there. Oh, it's sitting right here. This guy. So we're going to take this. It already has the pulley and everything in there. Disassemble the X-axis tensioner. Sir, yes, sir. Oh, and now I see the screw that'll go through here comes through either side on this, so that it basically locks this in place. Very interesting, but stupid. I'm tired. TRD, tired. Tired, cold, tired. Okay, so then pull that belt tensioner that way. Make sure that you are around the pulley there, which we are. Oh, guess I shouldn't have put that that belt going through there yet. We ain't. It didn't tell me to do that. What am I hooked on here? There we go. Again, do want to thank Monoprice for stepping up recently and really supporting the channel. They have been just really good to work with, and I really appreciate everything that they've done lately to help us out. Okay, so there's that. It's going to go that way. Which way did it go? I have honestly, I must admit, I have never watched a single episode of King of the Hill. I just know him as the, that's the voice of the neighbor in Beavis and Butthead. I was a bigger fan of that. I never really, like, even The Simpsons I haven't watched in years. Never watched Family Guy. Although when I was in Germany one night, that was the only thing that was on TV, and it was actually in English. So I stayed up and watched a little bit of Family Guy in Germany in English. Okay. So we have that. We're going to pull this back in that away, sir. Actually, more I was thinking of the character actor, and I don't know the actor's name. He was always in westerns and stuff. He was the guy who did the voice in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Which way did he go, boys? He went that way. Let's go. To which Eddie Valiant replied, dum-dums. You know, this is a bit of a complicated little assembly right here, tell you what. It might be easier. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to release the belt here. Run that in like so. I don't know why the southern voice be coming out tonight. It's normally the, you know, you got the Wisconsin accent there too that comes out pretty thick there from time to time. Oh, you betcha there. You know, some people think it's Minnesota, but no, this is that's Wisconsinese. So we got that tightened back down. Assemble the access tensioner, but do not tighten the nut. Use the use two 5 by 14 screws to get everything tightened down. So we will eventually tighten everything down. Again, thanks to everybody for stopping by. Like I said, I know that I have not been a good streamer, and I do appreciate everybody coming by and checking out what we have going on here, especially since it's like not the norm. I mean, I'm not playing a game. I'm building stuff and just kind of hanging out. Kind of an ask me any sort of thing. Till you would. Although do not ask me about a certain TV reviewer and his hot take on Elden Ring, because I ain't getting involved in it. Well, that doesn't thread in there very far, but I guess it doesn't really need to, huh? I guess not. And I'm not trying to flip off the camera. I apologize there. Okay. And again, don't go super gonzo on these. Just snug them down. No need for thread lock or anything like that. But here we have the assembled gantry, and then it will actually get mounted this way. The print head will go side to side like that. The next part here, so we have the tensioner, insert the ends of the... Oh, see, now it's telling me to put the belt in, so I was a little bit ahead of myself. And then on this end here, it looks like is where we will install the X-axis limit switch. Looks like it's going to go right like that. Sure enough. So we need to use 4x8 hexagon socket. They're Allen wrench screw. Don't call them hexagon. I've never heard anyone call an Allen head screw a hexagon screw. For that, we're looking for a 4x8 millimeter, 4x8. Man, I'll say those almost look like RC motor mount screws. Now, one of the things that is kind of a pain, or can be a pain, on all 3D printers, regardless of manufacturer, is getting the bed level. There is a tool out there, or an add-on, called a BL Touch, which helps kind of get everything zeroed out for you and leveled out. I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier. We do have a BL Touch coming. I did order one today. Along with, there is an amazing YouTube channel called Filament Fridays, CHEP. You can also search for. The guy's name is Chuck Hellebuck. And kind of folksy, real laid back. I like Chuck's stuff a lot. I've learned a lot from him. I use his profiles on my Ender 3 Max, and actually on my ANET ET4 Pro. So, it does not want to go in there very nicely. What is going on? Do not want to cross thread that. So, and you've probably heard me mention many times, unscrew before screwing in. That'll kind of help set the threads in the screw hole. There we go, and that's exactly what I had to do there. All right, so we now have that in there, and we install the Z-axis mounting kit and install the tightness of the Z-axis tensioner. So, this is going to go like so. The one thing we need to do, so in this part here is where this rod is going to thread in. So we need to make sure that that is aligned. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn this around. Or bear with me, I'm going to stand up. We're going to do it this way so I can see where we're at a little bit better. There we go. And now we need to align and thread this down. And as you can see, all I'm doing is I'm turning the motor here, and it's dropping everything down. Okay. Pretty simple. All right, we are getting there. I mean, as you can see, this kind of looks like a 3D printer now. And, well, we've been streaming, let me see here, an hour and 30 seconds. And probably the first 2 minutes was like, am I live? Does the microphone work? Can you hear me? Hello, is there anybody out there? Anyone at all? So now at this point, what I'm doing is I'm tightening the tensioner on this side. We're going to turn it around. So this guy here, we're going to tighten the belt until we have good tension without excess drag. We don't want it to be floppy. That's a bit too tight. Well, actually, what we're going to do, so according to the manual, should have a, let's see, the difference between the nut and the screw protrusion is 0 to 2 millimeters. Press the belts to check the tension, and we just popped one off there. So we were not aligned properly. I'm going to turn this back around. Oh, you. Kind of wish they would have you put on that that cover after the belt is on and tension, just so that you can make sure that like the belts are on the teeth of the pulley and everything. Having one bad thumb does not make this an easy task. There we go. We take an Allen wrench and push that back a little bit. Smaller bit. There we go. We are now where we need to be. That does feel tight, and there's not a whole lot of tension here, so we'll double check everything before we go to print for the first time. All right, up next, looks like we are ready to install the gantry profile and the screen kit. So that's the top. And one thing I want to do too is there are additional Molex connectors and whatnot underneath there. I just want to make sure that nothing is getting smushed as I move this around. And to put in the top of the gantry, I need an M5 by 25 millimeter screw. Looks like there's 4 of them up top. And we are just about done with this, which is awesome. Can I fix, what are you talking about, Jacob? So we're going to go up top here with our gantry top pieces. And again, we need a 5 by 25 millimeter screw. Peanuts, so that's these guys here. And Jacob, I must tell you too, the correct answer to can we fix it is, of course, always yes, we can. Now, on this, with the top of the gantry, what I'm doing is making sure, first and foremost, that the screws line up before I tighten them down. And I actually have not tightened the screws down on the side. That way I can get everything square before tightening everything down too. There goes, guys. Assembly on this has been really nice, I must say. I probably would already be done if I wasn't streaming, but talking to everybody and whatnot, it's been fun. I will likely have the video for this, by the way, up next week. I already have Fridays filmed. I just need to finish my edits on it. Come on. Looks like we're going to go to this one. Let me know, too, how the stream is looking and sounding on everyone's end. Like I say, different setup for me here, and just wanting to make sure everything is looking and sounding good. Haven't done the dual camera before, so something kind of different, something kind of unique that hopefully everybody enjoys. Even Life with Matthew, who has been conspicuously quiet. Because he's not here anymore, I'm willing to bet. He hates me for some reason. He don't like me. I mean, it could be that he's on my left. I mean, that could be it. I mean, we are coming up on morning too, so there's that too. Good, thanks, Sean. Yeah, I think I have the stream set to 1080p too. Let me just double check here on my end. Yep, 1080p, 60 frames per second. So that's good. The one thing, this camera to me is way too hot. I gotta adjust the settings on that so that it's not quite so overexposed. I had it right before, and I was just having some issues getting the stream live, and it lost my settings. So now I just have standings, no settings. Okay. And again, you don't want to go too tight on these because you don't want to strip out the screw holes. So there's those. Wunderbar. Next up is we are going to grab our screen kit here. I like the size of this. I really do. Okay, so for this we need 4 by 12 millimeter screws, and basically what we're going to do is, I guess there's going to be some T-nuts that go on the back side here, and then this gets attached, I'm pretty sure, to this side here. Yep, it goes in here, and that's what the T-nuts are for, is they'll actually line up in there. T-nuts, so that we have 6 by 4 millimeter T-nuts right here, right? Yep. Can this print the OMA case by chance? I don't know what that is, Clint. Can you email me a link and I can let you know? rocksolidmail@gmail.com would be the best best link to send. And then for screws, I need 4 by 12 millimeter. Not fair, not fair. 4 by 12. These guys. This camera is working out a lot better than I thought it would. And I do have a new camera mount coming that I actually just ordered. That's probably going to frustrate my wife because she's like, what do you want for Father's Day? Oh, I don't need anything. And then I order stuff on Amazon anyways. Sorry, honey, I love you. Yeah, so let me know, Clint, what is the OMVS case? I'm not familiar with what that is. Okay, so I am not going to tighten these screws, so that way I can kind of get everything aligned in here to drop them in, and then I'll tighten them when everything is together. Now, Clint, I will tell you, as far as information on the Monoprice Joule, it will print PLA right out of the box. I'm pretty sure it will do ABS and PETG as well. I stick to PLA myself. Hatchbox PLA is what I use, and it just works. It is the Neo Geo Custom MVS Case Laser Bear Prints Them by Tycho Labs. If you have the STL file, yes, it would. I will not. I would just order it from Laser Bear. Quite honestly, Greg is a good dude, supports the community, and I mean, if he's got it on his site for free, great. But I'm one of those, like I mentioned earlier, and you weren't here, so kind of bears repeating, no pun intended. Just not to reprint prints from those who are selling them or who own the rights to them and have asked not to print them. So I know Greg puts out a lot of his prints that basically for the community where they can go ahead and print them free of charge. Just not being familiar with it, I would just say please be careful. So there's that, and then we'll attach that moment. This cable here is for as well. So I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to move my X-Acto knife over here, blade side down, so I don't cut myself, because that's never happened. And this is going to be a bit of a pain. You know what I might do? You know what? So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these. I'm actually going to tighten them down so that they can fit in the grooves. Then I'll loosen them up, and then hopefully it drops right in. Fingers crossed. Yeah, if he offers the file for free, absolutely I'll print it then, Clint. I know that he does that with a lot of his stuff. Same thing with Todd from, crap, Frog. Why can't I think of it? He's the one that does the vertical stands for the RetroTank 5X. So if he's got the file, what you would need to do is get the file type would be called an STL. That is the normal file output for 3D prints. And from there, you take the STL file and you drop it into a slicer such as Kira. Yes, that worked. Prusa has their own slicer. There are other ones as well that are out there. And then for this, I am working on getting a profile kind of set up and going. Like I say, since it is a clone of the Ender 3 V2, everything I've heard is that those profiles should probably work for this. Oh, that worked! Yes! That worked! I love it when a plan comes together. It's the simple things in life. It's the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. And then looks like the cable will run underneath and then plug in. Attach the cable on the screen kit to the screen connector, then snap the kit onto the screen bracket. Okay. So we're going to go lean this like so for right now. I've been also hinting for Father's Day. Didn't see a link for this. What's the price? I didn't put a link in there, so that's on me. I have a review coming for this. I want to say, give me just a second. I have the page open in the background, so I'm going to precariously balance this. Or do I have it open? Give me a second. Monoprice Joule, again, is the name of this. It is $249.99 through monoprice.com. And then we will have it, our affiliate links and everything for Amazon as well. I'm not seeing it there, but yeah, I'll get you a link right here to their, open a new tab, copy, and paste. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually pin that so that anyone who needs it has it. Ta-da! Okay. Yeah, it's, so I will say it is probably the most feature-rich, budget-friendly printer that I have seen. Let's snap this on there. Oh, that was super easy. I may actually take some wire ties and kind of wrap this ribbon cable down here around the inside of the power supply just to keep it from getting smushed. Might be a good idea. So there's that. All right, we're almost there. So next up is we need to grab the, this is like virtually identical to what my ANET ET4 Pro uses. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, it doesn't thread though, which is interesting. It's just a like an indexed. So we got to go like so. I am so looking forward to printing with this. I have been so happy with my other Monoprice 3D printer that it just, yeah, I have been looking forward to this. You know what? You know what, Bobby? You may have to put that in first. Yep. So you put that in first, and then you get this lined up in there. Maybe, sort of, maybe. There we go. Yep. So the sides of this carrier here keeps the tube in place and locked. So that's actually really nice. I like that. Now we need to grab, I'm going to slide this back here. Yeah, just a moment. I like this display too. I mean, it's not powered on, but like I like the location. I like the angle of it and everything. Let's see, Matthew, it's not too bad of a price. You'll have to do a follow-up review in a few months. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm probably doing it on the other Monoprice one because it's just, for the money, it is more expensive and it's a smaller print bed. But it's a set and forget kind of thing. It's very similar to the FlashForge Adventurer 3. It uses a lot of the same parts, same print diameter and everything. And it just works. I mean, that's the best thing about it is it just works. Let's see. For this, I need a 4x6, 4x8, 4x6. What do you know? I've only got a couple screws left, and there they are. Just remember, wherever you go, there you are. Oh, I also got an award at work today for being the most secretive employee. I can't tell you what it means to me. Can't tell you what it... Can't tell you what it means. Cannot. These are the jokes, people. That was not a joke, actually. Barking spiders down here. Someone step on a duck. Speaking of which, I took my dogs to the pond the other day to go play, and they both got attacked by the ducks. That's what I get for having purebred dogs. Purebred dogs, people. Purebred. This is what happens when I stream and I have no one holding me accountable for bad dad jokes. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're old or young, fat or thin, tall or short. It's night. It's night. Come on, not even a groan out of the chat. Come on. Are you even paying attention? Hello? Is there anybody out there? Anyone at all? Okay. So bring our X-Acto knife over here. We are almost done. It looks like a 3D printer. So we're going to pull this forward. And this is to hold our filament. Yeah, that's virtually identical to what my Monoprice, or not my Monoprice. It's my Monoprice printer is identical to my Monoprice. Look up their website I linked. Make sure. Yeah, I've actually bought stuff from him in the past. Laser Bear is awesome. What was it? Was it the? Can't remember if it was the PS2 mode adapter or something like that that I had gotten from him. Yeah, Greg is. Oh, I know what it is, and this is before it was really Laser Bear. But he did 3D printed cases for the blah, 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 the RetroTink 2X, the original. And I want to say, I'm sorry for the armpit shot here. I want to say he's located in Ohio. So for me, being in Illinois, shipping is really quick too. Not Laser Bear. Laser Bear offers this stuff. Oh, okay. Oh, I was talking about Laser Bear. Next up, we need to connect the filament tube, and that is this guy here. Now, on my other printers, I have cut the zip ties and just let it float. I'm going to leave it connected for now and just see how it performs. I am actually going to upgrade this. There's different tubes and whatnot that you can get. This is a PTFE tube, is just the material it's made out of. A company called Capricorn makes really good ones. It's what I use on my other two printers that are screwing up right now. But until recently, this is what I used on them as well. So, and the interesting thing is the way this fitting works is you can push it straight in. You can push it real good. Turn this around so you can see me push it. Maybe. I'm going to drop this down. There we go. So I'm just going to push that in. It's in. Now, if I try to pull it out, I can't. I have to actually push in this little pneumatic fitting, and then it'll release the PTFE tube. Sorry, no worries, Clint. None at all. I appreciate you coming by. So we have that in. Oh, I need to put the caps on the end, which is right there. My photo box wanted to make some noise right there. I thought it was going to fall on me for a second. I think my liner on the inside just came loose was all, which is disappointing. It was kind of a pain to get up there, but we'll get it back at another time. We're just putting the caps on here. Don't you fall. You may see something funny here in a minute that ends up falling on me. All right, so there's that and that. We are done with that. And I think at this point we are done with assembly. The only thing we need to do is connect our different wiring harnesses. And so we will do that. And the nice thing most printer companies do is they use different size connectors in different locations, so things can only plug in one spot. So we're going to have to plug in. Let's see, what does this say? That's X. That's E. And that's X as well. So let's see, referring to the yellow labels on each connector, plug the 6-pin connectors into the X, Z, and Y and E axis motors, and the 3-pin connectors into the X and Z limit switches. Okay. Those are connected down below. Got to get one into here. Looks like I'm going to go over here for everything. Oh, that is incorrect. So this does not have a runout sensor on it. So some printers have where if you run out of filament, it'll stop. This does not have that, so interesting to note. So E goes to this one. So there's that. And we'll turn this around so I can see it. Turn around. I will not be printing a CRT. Actually, you know what, Linda? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to print a CRT just so I can smash it. That's what I'm going to do. Yes, yes. Your hate is growing. So, plug. In there. Maybe. Go. And then that one in there. And if you need to, like I actually had to pull these out a little bit more from the tubing and whatnot to get them to reach. That's not an issue. Although I'm having problems getting this one in. I don't know what's going on here, Bobby. Why am I having an issue with this one? There we go. Just needed to go in more straight. And this one, on the bottom, goes to the Z access limit switch. So I'll turn this over this way just a little bit. Whoop, as I bumped the camera, sorry about that. And yeah, I knocked off my I'm gonna hang this sucker back up because having that fall would not be good for me. Okay. And this one high will go right up the gut. Right there. So there we go. Everything is now assembled. Caught on it. Here we go. Turn that away. So there we have one successfully assembled Monoprice Joule 3D printer. Now, a few final things that I do need to do is I'm going to pull the bed forward. You can see the bed rocks. Yabba dabba doo. So what you do on this is there's those cams on the underside, Mr. Newton, and let's see. What you do is you basically just wiggle the bed. Hang on. We're going to pull out our work mat because we don't need it anymore. And you can see there how the bed is wobbling. So I'm going to pull this forward. That was the wrong way. That's one of those things where it's just trial and error to see which way you got to rotate these. So the front a little bit too tight. You want them to be tight enough that it doesn't have any slop, but you still want them to move front to back freely. Still getting a little bit of rock in there. I'm going to loosen that just a tick, because we've eliminated the slop, but now we still have a little bit too much tension on the wheels. Okay, one last little adjustment will be good there. Actually still feels too tight. I think I went the wrong way there. Par for the course. See, now you can see I've overly loosened it. There we go. And the main thing as it's going forward and back is you don't want to feel like if there's a flat spot or something like that. A little bit of rocking yet. I'll tighten that back down just a hair. And I know I'm being picky about this, but it's one of those that having your belt or your bed tension set right will save you headaches in the future. Okay, so we have that. And now at this point, we are ready. One of the best parts, we are going to pull off the protective sheet on the glass bed. Actually feels, I mean, it is a glass bed, but it does feel like it has a decent amount of resistance to it, stiction, friction, however you want to call it. So you may or may not need to use like an Elmer's glue or a hairspray to help with adhesion for your prints. There is that in fresh. And the last little thing we're going to do is we're just going to power it on real quick. And just make sure everything is working as it should be before I move it into where we will be doing our prints. And no, we will not be printing a CRT. No CRTs. CRTs are the worst. Okay, so we got that there. I'm actually going to rotate it that way so the camera can pick it up a little bit better. Put our tools to the side. And I mean, the figure hanging out with all of you and talking, you know, we are an hour and a half into this build. If I was just building it straight without talking, probably about half that. So probably about 45 minutes or so to get things together. One last thing, it did tell me to verify that the voltage was set properly on the back, which I'm going to do here now. And yes, it is. And that setting is back in here. So, push that there. And the display did pop off because I pushed it forward and whatnot. But the other thing I do kind of wish that this came with was a little bit of grease for the Z stepper here I may add some some grease myself to make sure that it goes through this bushing and everything without any issues, because as we all know, grease is the word. I hate that movie. It's so terrible. It's almost as bad as Rocky Horror. All right, so we do have power connected. We'll turn it on. I hear the fans, but I don't see no display. Just make sure that I have the display plugged in all the way. Hey, Jorge, how you doing? It's not really all that complicated, Jacob. It really isn't. I mean, if I can do it. Oh, it disconnected. That's why. That is why. She swallowed the fly. Perhaps she'll just die. You know, I forget who it was earlier. I was talking about my Bell's palsy and the eye patch earlier. There we go. I'll tell you, my vision still has not come back from all that. So, yeah, you made it just in time for the power on, which was a little bit anticlimactic there because it didn't work the first time. But now, we should be good. Hey! We have a menu system. There we go. And you just scroll through using the jog dial here. Settings, temperature, motion, filament. Yeah, very cool. So the last few things that I have to go through is I will go through and manually level the bed. These adjustment knobs here will help me go ahead and do that. It does have a SD card slot in the front and micro USB on the front as well for hooking up to a computer to transfer your files and stuff. First print, you missed it. First print will be... Damn it, where did I put it? I had it here! I mean, first print has to be Discoon, right? Has to be. And then we are going to be printing off a ton of N64 region free mods because I have about 200 of them that someone ordered that I need to get off to them. So, yeah, overall, this was not a bad assembly at all. It looks good. It looks small, and I think part of it is it's more efficient in its spacing versus like my ANET ET4 Pro. What I'm gonna do here real quick. Let me automatic. No, I want to the microphone out of my face. Settings, motion. I want to adjust where things are. It doesn't give me that option. I just have to look through the manual to be able to do it. Control, move. There we go. Move x-axis. So I'm going to move it 10 millimeters. You can see it moving. And now we'll move Y. Why? Because we can. So that moved the bed. Move Z. We'll move that. Raises everything up. All of our motors and everything are working well. So that is what we want to see here. So I think that's going to do it for us for our stream tonight. I'm going to try to do some more of these here coming up soon. I've got some games I want to play. Probably do some Jedi Fallen Order. Just spend more time with all of you. it's kind of disconcerting that I guess nobody got notifications, or very few people got notifications. So keep an eye on Twitter. Make sure you're following us there, as we will have that information on Twitter and everything when we do go live. But this has been the Monoprice Joule 3D printer. It is a 220 by 220 by 250 tall print bed area. Cost right now through Monoprice's website directly is $249, and it is very similar to like the Voxelab Aquila and the Ender 3 Pro V2. So I am looking forward to getting our test prints and everything rocking and rolling with this. And until our next, by the way, we're live. You meant live? Yes, I meant I was live. We are live. As who was Bill O'Reilly? F it, we'll do it live. So yeah, we were live. We were showing how the Ender 3 V2 clone from Monoprice called the Joule goes together. Took us in all about an hour and a half, I would say, with talking to everybody. Probably would have taken 45 minutes to an hour if I had just been focusing on the build itself. But very easy build, a very well put together, good quality construction. All of the pieces lined up well. I don't feel like I have to do a whole lot of screwing around to get it to print properly. The last steps, like I was just mentioning, is I'm going to level the bed, and then I will be running our first test prints. But until then, I'm going to be going to bed, because it is 11:30 at night. How do I know if I should get a 3D printer? You should get a 3D printer. That's how you know. And here's basically how I did it. Was I saw something that I wanted to get that I could 3D print. And instead of buying that thing on like Etsy or eBay or something like that, I just set that money aside. And yeah, I started out with, let's see, do I have one handy? I'll show you what the original idea was. Hang on. Hang on. I'm coming back. I promise I'm coming back. Mama, I'm coming home. So the original thing that I wanted to do was print out some of these, and these are ear holders for Disney ears, headbands, and we have Disney hats. If I order a Game & Watch from you, or a stand from me will be made using this machine, it would either be this one, my Ender 3 Pro or Ender 3 Max, my it'll probably honestly be, at least until I get more comfortable with this and get it dialed in, it'll probably be my Monoprice Voxel that I'll print it on. I really, really like it. But no, so I started out because I wanted to get these Waves and Games to store our Mickey ears that we had. So these were like $25 for 2 of them. I'm like, well, I need like 6 or 8 of them, so I set that money aside. And then there were some other things that I wanted, and I set that money aside. And, things like, I do these here. This is a 3D printed question block, right? Well, these guys hold SD cards. So I've got like 3 or 4 of these for my different SD cards, because yes, I actually do have that many. I wanted to do, can you see it behind me? Probably not. Hold on, we're going to do an extreme close-up here. Whoa! So we've got the Wii remote holders back there. I've got some other stuff over there that I printed. What do we have over here? You can see the Xbox controller stands. I've got some new stands I'm actually designing. I did my first test print last night. Didn't love it, but I'm going to make some changes. My Famicom game system holders, along with the Switch game holders there. You can see the Switch controller holder. So there's been a lot of stuff that I decided that, whoa! Hello? There was just a lot of stuff that I decided that, I wanted to buy that could have been 3D printed, that I just set the money aside, and when I had the money, I'm going to try to balance this camera or straighten this camera out. Basically, when I had the money for everything that I would have printed anyways, it was enough to buy my first 3D printer, which was $250, I want to say. $250. And that was my ANET ET4 Pro. Looking back, I wouldn't have bought it. It's kind of been a pain in the ass, but it works. This has been, I've really enjoyed getting into it. I've learned a lot. I've learned that I can do more things from a design standpoint than I ever imagined. I've got my, it's back behind there, but I've got my Famicom disk system holder that I designed. I also went ahead, let's see here. I don't have, I'm gonna actually just grab this. I'll bring it closer. Stay. Don't look at my butt. You're still trying to look at my butt. Okay, so one of the first things that I found on Thingiverse that I really liked is this guy here. This is a Famicom disk system game holder, right? And I'm going to move this over to the side so you can see my face, even though you probably don't want to. So this holds 5 games. It's got the Famicom family computer logo and everything on it. And this just, it's a neat way to display my games. But you know what? You can't see the labels this way, right? So I took this and I redesigned it. And this was my first attempt at it. And this is actually a tiered system that you can have 4 games. I maintained the Famicom family computer logo on the front, and I added Discoon on the side. Let's see if you can see. Yep, there's Discoon on the side. And, I really like the way this turned out. I like this one so much. Wait for it. That I made this one, and this was actually the original inspiration for this stand, and that was I wanted to display all my Rock Band games in a vertical type where I could kind of see the labels and everything. Although math is not my strong suit apparently, because for some reason it doesn't have 6 slots, it has 7. So derp. I'm going to rework this file and I'm going to make it just 6, and I'll have these listed soon too. So is it hard to have only one printer? Meaning, what's the probability that a year into printing I would need to get a bigger printer? So I would honestly recommend, 2 things. Go with the easiest printer that you can and go with the biggest printer that you can afford. So my original printer, my Anit ET4 Pro, was the same print size as this, 220 by 220 by 250. And that one is a clone of a Prusa printer. And Prusa makes amazing stuff. They're really, really good, but they're like $1,000. And the Anit is not $1,000, and it's not close to the quality, but it was something to get me started. Now, Chris at Game Dad bought the same printer. We actually ordered our printers at the same time because we were going to lean on each other. He hated his. I don't know if he's using it even to this date because he hated it so much. He got a Monoprice MP10, loved it. For him, it just worked. And I think that kind of goes back to earlier we were talking about like what CAD software, what design software, what slicer works best for you. Same thing with the printer. It's whatever you can get the most out of. And the Monoprice Voxel is, for most beginners, is so easy to use. It is so user-friendly, and it just works. I rarely have a failed print on it. As I mentioned before you got here, Waves, I actually had all 3 of my printers going before, not including this one here, obviously. And 2 out of the 3 had a print fail. And when I went back to go grab the my Discoon, because someone else asked what the first thing I was going to print on this was, and I thought I had one in here, I just didn't. So I went and grabbed it, and I saw both those other printers had failed. So it's one of those things that it can be frustrating. Do I have an Etsy page? I do. And I also have my own 3D printed website that is linked in the pinned comment on all of my videos, except for this one, because this is a live stream, not a produced video. Generally speaking, I do a lower cost on my website versus Etsy just because of the overhead of one versus the other. I'm behind on shipments right now. I've got 3 orders I've got to get out, and I've got 1 big order right now of 250 pieces or 200 pieces that I'm working on printing. So, and I can crank out about 38 prints a day for that one piece that I'm shipping right now for this bulk order. So, it's been fun. Any other questions before we wrap things up? Like I say, I'm hoping to be able to do more live streams here soon. I think this setup really worked well. I was not expecting the two camera setups to work as well as it did, but it worked really, really well. I'm actually going to use that footage on that camera in the review that I do on this, just to show the assembly and probably just accelerate the process and edit it out to speed things up there. So, but yeah, overall, fit and finish and everything really, really good. Came with some spare parts and everything too. Spare screws, spare T-nuts. T-nuts are always awesome to have. If you ever need spare hardware for any 3D printer, your local hobby shop, Dubro makes incredible hardware and metric and SAE. So this is a metric machine to kind of help you get going from there. So I don't see any other questions popping up in the chat, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Holy cats, it's almost midnight and I have to work in the morning. So I do want to thank everybody for stopping by and checking this out. This will be available after YouTube is finished with the processing and everything. So do want to thank everybody who did come by tonight to check this out, and I'm excited to bring the full-blown review to you later on, probably next week. So until our next stream, good to see you guys too. We are going to be checked out, gone.